Portugal, a country best known for being the neighbor of Spain, but we'll be changing that history in today's video. And for just 10,000 likes, we'll be covering Aragon, and now we're gonna do a magic trick. Reach into your pockets. Can you find your wallet? No? Oh, it's cause it's here. You want it back? Subscribe to the channel, or I'm throwing it in the water. There's a few reasons why Portugal is such a great beginner nation. First off, it's easy to play as, and most importantly, it's very flexible when it comes to the strategies that you can apply as this nation. That means you can either go and have a massive colonial empire, or you can restore the Roman Empire if you want to, or just take over the Iberian lands. The world is your oyster, and because of your amazing position, you can do both things at the same time. Not to mention, it really has some unique, really overpowered aspects that a lot of people oftenly overlook, and we're gonna go into those aspects today and take full advantage of them. First thing, obviously, we're gonna get our rivals. Morocco, Tunis, and Aragon should always be your first three rivals. You also have a historical friendship with Castile, and we will be allying them. We will eventually take land from the Castilians, but we're not going to do that in the early game. First, we're going to use them in our wars against the Moroccans and Granada, and after we got our foothold in Africa, we're also going to start munching into the Iberian lands, because if you attack them at the very beginning, it's both going to be a very hard war, and it would be a waste of an opportunity since you really can take advantage of Castile before backstabbing them. Obviously, after, we're going to give out the +3 mana privileges, well, I mean +1 mana privileges for all three estates, of course, religious diplomats for the clergy as well, supremacy over the crown, patronage of the arts, and the private trade fleets, which makes our ships a little bit cheaper, and that's going to be good because we're going to need to build 3 light ships at the very start. We want to get up to 100% of our force limit, naval force limit, which is going to give us some permanent claims on the Moroccan land. Remember that you actually start off with a regency council. For the first few years, you're not going to be able to declare any wars at all. So in that meanwhile that we're waiting for our regency to go away, we're going to start getting a spy network in Morocco. Obviously, we want to also summon the Diet and go for whichever agenda best suits us. And don't forget to seize Crownlands after too. Because of the recent update, we only get 0.20 autonomy monthly, so we don't need to develop any of our provinces. And if you really are struggling with your money and you need some money at the start, what you can do is get the indebted to the burghers loans, which is 5 loans at 1% interest. So that's literally 0.28 interest that you're paying off. Very, very little compared to the amount of money that you're getting. I want to make this very clear. Do not mothball your forts at the start. We also will be assigning Earl of Avranches to this army here, and we're gonna drill the army. We already start with 5% professionalism, so by the time that we start our first war, we should have a little bit extra professionalism to help us out in that war. Assign the 5 light ships that you have to protect trade in the Sevilla trade node, and assign the other ships, namely the heavy ships and the transports, to hunt pirates in the Sevilla trade node, which is going to prevent the Moroccans from raiding your coastlines. We also can get the Portuguese Marines, and I recommend you get this because of the naval barrage cost -40%, and especially because of the marine force limit. This is insanely overpowered, and let me explain to you why that is overpowered. A lot of the times, you're going to have a lot of sailors lying around, and you're not going to need them as much for the ships. So instead of just wasting these sailors when you're low in manpower, you can simply recruit marine units, which also have a bonus when attacking over rivers, so you don't get the river crossing penalty, as well as it's faster to land on provinces. So the way that that's going to go is we're going to land with the Marines quickly on a province and then bring in the rest of the army after we've controlled that province. I'll show you guys as we go along in the video. These guys are super powerful, and the fact that Portugal can have 50% of its land force limit as Marines is insane. Don't forget, you also start with the English as your ally, and they are definitely one of the best allies you're going to have in the game. For that matter, I recommend you get a royal marriage with the English. This is also going to allow you to do the mission English Alliance that offers permanent claims on Galicia and Asturias in the north of Castile here, go for that. It's going to make the Castilians a little bit pissed with you. So make sure you go for that mission after you got the alliance with Castile. And one more thing you need to know is the fact that Portugal is the only nation that starts with an explorer, Diego Gomez. So if you want, you can set 3 light ships aside and then select the mission, explore, and you can start with the exploration of West Africa. I also recommend that you delete the fort in Evora. You already have a fort in Lisbon, and that is more than enough. The reality is we're not a massive country, and 2 forts is enough to maintain our army tradition, because remember, whenever you mothball your forts, your army tradition goes down massively. But because we have fully maintained forts, we're gaining 0.74 army tradition per month. That is quite a lot. So by the time we start the war with the Moroccans, we should be in a better situation than we are right now. If we mothball the forts, we're not getting that, and eventually after we're going to start losing stuff, so we don't want that to happen, do we? Remember, whatever advisors you get as well, that you have Mr. Gomez, that is 50% cheaper to get, and he's +2 admin. When it comes to your military and diplo, it's very random, so go for whatever you want to go. Do remember that it's going to cost you a little bit of cash once you get the advisors. I also want to mention that getting an alliance with Aragon, if they're not rivaling you, is not a bad idea and will help you in the war against Castile. But from pretty much all the games I've had in 1.33 as Portugal, they always rival me in the last update. So the chances of them not rivaling you are insanely low. We've explored pretty much all that we can explore with Mr. Diego Gomez. Afterwards, because we don't have anything else we can do now until we declare the war with the Moroccans, we're going to assign this guy over to protect trade in Sevilla, and then we'll change his mission as we go along in the game. After you also got 1 stability, you want to give out the -25% advisor cost reduction privileges for your estates. And because of that, we're only paying 2.27 for the advisors, which means we're losing less than a ducat compared to the 3 ducats that we were losing before. After we finish building the 3 light ships, we're going to build our flagship. So click on flagship, make it a light ship, and we have, as the Portuguese, some special traits. The Portuguese navigators gives us +100 range, which means that after this is finished, we can explore with Mr. Diego Gomez the entirety of the Atlantic. Make sure you also give the fleet naval barrage cost -40%, and this scales with the other bonus that we have, so we can barrage forts for close to no mana points. As the 3rd trait, either give the trade power per ship and fleet +2, which is a massive boost once you assign your ships to protect trade, but realistically speaking, you're not going to assign your ships to protect trade because you're going to use your flagship to explore for at least 20 to 30 years, and because of that, we're going to instead give them out the fleet movement speed trait, which makes it faster to explore, and the faster we explore the sea tiles, the sooner we can use our ships for something else. Also means we can do the competitive advantage here mission. That means we got claims on the northern part of Morocco. We're also going to develop the province of Coimbra twice, so we do our mission. And guys, I want to really point something out here. At the beginning, you have basically 2 big states, and you have the holy orders, and I strongly recommend you set up the Franciscan holy order in both of your 2 starting states. This essentially gives you 10 manpower development. Every single province in those states gets 1 manpower. Not to mention, you also get your devastation lowered faster by the Franciscans. We're close to declaring our war, so let's go ahead and recruit another 5 infantry divisions so we get up to 17 and 4. Another reason why Marines are really great is because of the monument that you have in your capital, which offers 25% extra national sailors modifier, which is the same like having 25% manpower, considering that we can use sailors as a secondary pool of manpower. Our flagship finished building. That means we can start our war against the Moroccans. We seem to have gotten a really bad air also. Freaking 205 for real? Oh, 204, my bad. No problem. We're just gonna get rid of this guy after we finish the war with Morocco. And we've positioned our troops by the border with Granada. 90% of the times what happens is Granada allies the Tunisians and Morocco. That's exactly what happened. In fact, they have a triple alliance sort of thing going on here with Morocco, Granada, and Tunis. So that normally means, yes it does, that we can ally Tlemcen and get guess what? We're gonna do that. We're gonna use Tlemcen as our cannon fodder in this war. Let's get our last claims as well on these boys here. One on Morocco and one on Granada. Make sure your fleet is positioned in the Straits of Gibraltar and then declare the war. We're gonna try and get all of the provinces in Granada as our provinces before the Castilians get them. So that means we're gonna send a couple of extra units on the side here. Nice. So now we have charge of all three of these sieges in Granada. We will be fully annexing Granada ourselves, even though we're taking 2 times the aggressive expansion because we did not co-belligerate them. And as I was saying before, because we have the Portuguese Marines naval doctrine as well as the flagship here, which offers extra naval barrage cost reduction, it only costs 10 mana points to barrage forts that are by a sea tile. Malacca's out, so that means we can use this army into the Moroccan front. Treason, I say. Well, 2.5 professionalism. I don't mind if it's treason then. That means we're close to 10% professionalism, so we can slacken our manpower twice. Damn, Castile be draining their manpower pool. Actually, this is one of the reasons why I did this strategy, because attacking Castile afterwards is going to be a lot easier. They're also going to have the Castilian Civil War, so they're going to have to deal with a lot of rebels. You can also give out the expansionist zealotry privilege for the clergy if you need a little bit extra morale to fight the Moroccans. Castile drained most of their manpower, so now they actually recruited 2 mercenary companies to fight for them. Honestly, just taking out small Moroccan and Moroccan vassal armies one after the other is exactly how you're going to get most of your war score without having to sacrifice too much of your own manpower pool. We could push for the war with the Tunisians, but I kind of want a white peace so I can finish my Moroccan war as well fast, and so I can focus on the stuff that I really need to focus on. It's also why we're going to be fully annexing Granada right now. I kind of need to peace out, and this war's been dragging on for a while, so I'm going to go for a peace deal now. Obviously, the most important thing is to get the humiliation, so we get our H objective fulfilled, plus we also want to get the cities in the north. I would have liked to go for Melilla as well, but I have to choose between Melilla and war reparations. And I'm gonna go for war reparations to start fixing my economy a little bit. Now we can focus on what's really important, which is family. Family is what's really important. I'm kidding. It's a joke, okay? Stop it. What's really important is that we have a fleet that has 3 light ships, including our flagship, and now we can start actually exploring. We can also do Conquest of Tangiers for the extra admin power, and this is also one of the reasons why I did gun for the province of Tangiers and the war against the Moroccans very early on in the game. We're gonna lose the alliance with the Castilians, so we're gonna trade favors for some extra ducats. We're a little bit behind with our economy, and I didn't take the money that I wanted from the Moroccans because I had more important things to take, but we're gonna take some money from the Castilians after that war is done. Actually, it was Tlemcen that canceled the alliance with us, not Castile. Well, regardless, I'm still canceling with Castile because I want to attack him myself. So after everything I've done to you, cancel the alliance, did not give you land, you still want to be my ally. Wow. Wow, Castile. Wow. Oh, lol. Tlemcen just allied Castile. What the schnaps is happening in this game? Don't forget to lower the autonomy in your provinces after the Moroccan War, and especially after you've cored up all the provinces that you took. 1454, and we're already exploring Madagascar because of our amazing flagship. We've actually even gone all the way into the Indian part, since this is essentially the Maldives. Another thing we've been doing secretly is we've been improving relations with the French. They are now more than willing to ally us. We're gonna use France in our wars against Castile and Aragon. I was afraid this would happen, and Castile just got the inheritance. They got Aragon super fast. Normally this happens a little bit later unless they got great RNG, which obviously they did. So we're gonna have to deal with both of these nations now in the war to take lands from Castile. On the bright side, we did start exploring the New World, and we can also set Castile as our next rival. Let's make sure we also embargo them before we attack. By currying favors with the French, we actually can call them in the war against the Castilians now, but before we do so, we're gonna get a few loans, and we're getting these loans because I want to actually embrace the Renaissance, and as such I can get these technologies a little bit ahead of time. Plus I can also get military tech 5 after 1 month. There you go. Now we can also change to the better units, which means we get more pips in the war against the Castilians. civilians. Don't forget to also set the defensiveness edict in the provinces where you have fortifications. We would have been able to attack a lot faster if it wasn't for the fact that Castile got the PU over Aragon. 1v1 me against Castile, easy money, but Aragon in the fray is a bit tougher because they have the manpower and they have a little bit of extra troops as well. Let's also get a second admiral so we fight off a few of their ships too. Obviously the smart thing in my situation is to take out Tlemcen first because they're allied to Castile, but this doesn't always happen. In normal games, Tlemcen is dead by now. So yeah, I'm just special, I guess, and I have to waste time in Tlemceni lands. We're basically canceling the alliance, getting war reps and a little bit of cash as well, and now we can use our troops to actually focus on Spain. They made the mistake of actually splitting their armies, and because of that, I'm gonna wipe them out one by one. There you go. Let's attack them whilst they're sieging down Lisbon, which is essentially an easy win for us. Oh boy, look at them juicy rolls. Oh, we got a 2. Oh, we got a 4. Oh, that's such amazing rolls right there. And also, we've actually explored the entirety of the coastline of South America. Oh boy, the missionary entered the Congo. Oh yeah, baby. We got knowledge of the Kongski. I am eventually going to be attacking and taking one province at least from Congo for myself, so I can use that to expand and explore the rest of the Asian parts. Halfway to getting everything we want. We got Toledo, so now we just got to kill off their armies. I'm really just going to let the French kill off their armies. Let them do the hard lifting here. And as always, the AI is focusing on the weaker nation, which in this case is me. So they're ignoring the French lands, and that's upsetting me, but hey, whatever. We got the war score we need. We're just going to piece them out for this stuff here. We're taking the gold mine in La Mancha first, and we're taking the province of Cáceres because we're going to be releasing from that the nation of León, and with León in next war, we can actually feed them back a lot of their cores. They basically have this entire strip here. We took these 4 directly because despite Galicia also being releasable, it is very low development land, so it's not really too much aggressive expansion, and it would be more of a waste of a diplo slot having these guys released so you feed back the stuff rather than just directly coring this for yourself. And the best part is that the gold mine in La Mancha is going to help our economy massively after we've cored this up and we brought it up to 10 production development. Alright, and now because we're not at war and we're not going to be at war for a while, we're going to disinherit Enrique over there, who is not really the best of heirs. And because of the state we left the Moroccans in, all 3 of their vassals are disloyal, so the next time we attack them, it's going to be a lot easier of a war than the previous one was. We got our first colonist, so that means we can start colonizing. The best target obviously would be Cape Verde, which allows us access into the rest of the American continent after we finish colonizing this province. Don't forget to also go for the Portuguese colonial growth as your first splendor bonus, as well as get the golden era as early as you can possibly get it. This is going to make it very easy for us to colonize super fast. As for your colonial policy, native repression policy is the best. It offers 20 extra settlers, and don't worry about them rebelling. You can just keep a few thousand troops there and it's going to be a-okay. So we click on Cape Verde, send the colonist. 60 days, we're going to start our first colonial province. Also means we can do our first mission here that gives 20% settler chance, and we can even do the next military technology. That's pretty good too. We essentially start colonizing Cape Verde with 32 settler chance. That means we technically have the chance of getting this province done in less than 2 years. Not to mention we get 105 settlers per year, which in 1460s is massive. Oh, what a great option. Either a 103 or we cannot have an heir for an year. I think I'm not gonna have an heir for an year. What the hell, man? 103 again, for real? What is up with the Portuguese royal family? Remember what I was saying at the beginning about the sailors and the marines? Well, look at this, because we got 9,000 sailors, we're gonna get 5,000 marines, and it doesn't cost us a single point out of our manpower pool. Finally, Jose came into our lives and he's got a 5 diplo mana. Please don't die, dude. I actually need the diplo points massively. All right, we also got colonial range plus 50%, which is going to really help out to really maximize the profit from the colonies. We're going to go for higher developed colonies as our second splendor bonus. We ferried our marines across to the New World, and we're going to assign a conquistador, and we're also going to ask our conquistador to hunt for the 7 cities, which essentially automatically discovers the provinces in the Americas. We've also started expanding in Brazil first, not because of range problems. We actually could have colonized all the way into the Caribbeans now, but I preferred this area because this way we can attack the tribes in this area and we can get 10 provinces a lot faster. So we're gonna start our cheeky war in South America. It is essentially against all of these native tribes here, and after we take out these native tribes, we're gonna have all the provinces we need to establish our own Brazilian colony. The way that it works with the native tribes is that you can take their tribal land also, not just the main province they got. So there you go. We got 4 provinces from Potiguara, which means that once I core these up and I finish my Paraíbas colony, I got the Brazilian colonial nation established. And these guys also migrate to the nearest province after you annex their stuff. I haven't taken all their provinces, but I don't want to. I got the capital of these guys, which is enough to get most of their provinces. So now I can focus on the Spanish Second War whilst my colonies are just essentially growing by themselves. We cored everything up here, so now we can get a self-governing colony in Brazil. We're getting a self-governing colony mainly because this way they expand the lands themselves a lot faster, and we don't need to invest in developing this colony ourselves. They do all the hard work by themselves, and then after we can just change their status to a crown colony and maximize the profit from this particular colony. Because Chile also has 10 provinces, we are getting 1 extra merchant, and we're going to use this 1 extra merchant to transfer more trade from the New World into our civilian trade node. This war, obviously, we're going to be going for the cores first off, so we're going to be rushing for Toledo, and then right after Toledo we'll try and take all of the rest of Spain. We might struggle to get the Venetians out of this war, but we're going to assign objectives to our ally France to take care of Venice for us. Fingers crossed that they will. The great part is that we're military tech 7 and they are still military tech 6, which makes a massive difference. Not to mention it also means that we can start barraging the forts. So there you go, directly barragio in Toledo. How generous of Toledo to give us 5% professionalism. Surprisingly, the French are doing what I'm asking them to, and they're actually taking care of the Venetians, which gives a lot of leeway for me to take care of the Spanish. Oh no, we're being chased by the Castilian army. It's Benny Hill show but reverse, guys. I was gonna actually release Asturias, but then I realized that I don't really need to release Asturias because they only have 3 provinces that have cores on, so Asturias, Cantabria, and Vizcaya, and I already have Asturias as one of Leon's cores, so it would be useless to actually release them. I'm just gonna basically kill off the rest of Castile in the next war and take all of their lands directly. We're gonna be concentration here in the south first and then core up everything. I did take 1 extra province here in Roussillon because I will be releasing the nation of Catalonia, which is essentially going to give me the cores from the Aragonese side in the next war. And also because we got 2 vassals now, we're going to get the strong duchies privilege, which means we have less liberty desire for subjects as well as 2 extra diplo relation slots. Once you discover the province of Goa, you can do the push to India mission that essentially gives you the province of Goa, but there's a little bit of a problem. If you don't have the range, it's gonna take a while until you can actually core this, so keep that in mind whenever you click the button. On the bright side though, it does mean that we can actually hold our ships in this province and use this as a base from which to explore the rest of the Asian part. Here's an important thing you guys need to know. I don't have a conquistador in charge of this army. It's a regular general, but I still can explore the terra incognita of this country because I am at war with the country. So whenever you're at war with your country and you don't see their lands, you can still explore their lands even if you don't have a conquistador attached to that army. The Mexican colony is going to be a little bit more different. You're going to establish it as a crown colony from the beginning, and the reason for that is that these guys are not going to be expanding by themselves, and you want to maximize the amount of profit that you get from the Mexican land, and you're going to expand the Mexican lands by killing off all the natives through regular wars, no colonization involved. Are you actually kidding me? Freaking Castile got colonialism. They literally have 2 freaking provinces, man. 2 provinces. For the third war against the Castilians, I'm taking mainly Castilian land and only 1 province from Aragon. And I also managed to take their provinces in the Tenerife area, but I'm doing this because I have a strong suspicion Aragon's going to want to become independent. There you go. They got 100% liberty desire because Castile is now basically super small and insignificant. So by the time I attack Castile the last time, I don't need to do 2 wars because Aragon is going to break away by that point, and I can just have 2 separate wars, one against the Aragonese, one against the Castilians. Now we can do intervene in Castile also, so we got permanent claims on the entirety of the Iberian peninsula. And you guessed why I actually got Alicante. It's to release Valencia. So in the war against Aragon, it's going to be course for Valencia, course for Catalonia. We're getting a colony in Nazca next to Cusco or Ixma, so we can establish another colonial nation here. We're doing the same in the North American parts with Nantego here, and we're doing the same thing with the expansion into India and in the Indo-Chinese peninsula, as well as afterwards we'll start munching into the Japanese islands too. And to point it out, if you are going for the navigator achievement, then you want to focus on getting a province from Congo, which means instead of getting Cape Town as a colony, you can directly get to the south of Kilwa and then Ajuran and then directly all over to Indonesia and so on before 1470s even. Idea wise, go for exploration expansion if you are going via the colonial empire route. If you want to restore the Roman Empire instead, then what you should go for is exploration, quantity, diplomatic, and it's gonna take a hit for your colonialism, but you can still get all the colonies by just attacking native countries like I'm doing now instead of getting proper colonies. So don't forget, if we get 10,000 likes, we'll do the Aragon video, and until the next time, check out this awesome England video. And I want to give a very big thank you to all of my channel members, Patreon members, as well as my Twitch supporters. I really wouldn't be able to do this without all of your support.